Hello and welcome back to another Sunday Coffee, the video series where I review, discuss, or talk about things that have been on my mind in the previous week. This video we will be looking at my favorite game of all time, Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 was released only 15 months after the first game in the Sega Genesis. Released by the same Sonic team and published by Sega, Sonic the Hedgehog 2 sold more than 6 million copies worldwide, making it the second best-selling Genesis game of all time, stopping short behind the original Sonic 1, which probably only sold as many simply because it came bundled with most Sega Genesis consoles at the time. It has been cited as one of the best games of all times, being tied with its two sequels, Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Sonic & Knuckles, for its place in the genre. This game brings back so many fond memories. Well, I can't really call them memories as I replay this game almost every year. No joke, at least one time a year I play this game to 100% completion. It is just that good, and also sadly just that short. If you are effective at the game, you can speed through it in just under 2 hours. For a casual player, you could look at possibly 4 hours of gameplay, but that's pushing it. I have owned this game on every version that has been released on, that I have found. From the original to the GameCube, Xbox 360, Switch, Sega Genesis, Sega Mini, Sega Micro, plug and play, you name it, I have probably owned it at one time. So what is it that makes this game so good? Well, let's dive into it and see. Sega! The game starts off by letting you know what you are playing, Sonic the Hedgehog. But wait, there's something else, a new character. As the manual says, a new friend joins Sonic, and his name is Miles Tails, the two-tailed fox. Tails is basically the hard mode of the game. Tails doesn't jump as high, doesn't run as fast, and all around has nothing to add to the game aside from being more difficult version. He also doesn't get the ability to turn into Super Tails until the end of the next game, which we will cover in a bit. The game will automatically start you off with the default Sonic and Tails mode, which basically has Tails tagging behind you. As novel as it is, I would suggest turning this mode off on your first playthrough and just using Sonic. The reason why is because Tails, for the most part, just gets in the way, especially in the special stages. The game keeps the same basic principles as the last game. Rings are your source of hit points. If you get hit, you lose all your rings, earn 100 rings, and you get an extra life. You cap out at earning 2 extra lives with rings per stages, so that means with the default version of Sonic 2, the maximum amount of rings that you would want to get in a stage is 200. The first stage you enter is Emerald Hill Zone. Sound familiar? Yes, this is the first game of many that play off the first most iconic level in Sonic the Hedgehog 1, the Green Hill Zone. The zone is fun and is a nice intro to the game. A lot of people like to give these levels a hard time because they are redone so many times. My argument is that these levels give story progression. If you think about it, almost every Sonic game starts on these levels. The reason why is because it is where Sonic lives. Of course he would start off at his home. Robotnik started wrecking shop, so Sonic gets off his tail and starts after him. Donkey Kong starts off the same way in his game, so why does Sonic get the hate for it? It could possibly be because there are about 4 times more Sonic games than Donkey Kong, but oh well. The game seems to run better, faster, and is less slippery. This may just be a placebo effect, but I could swear I feel a difference between the two games. The special stages also get an overhaul. There are enough goalposts that you hit, and you will most certainly get the idea the goalposts are now the special stages. This puts emphasis on the fact that now special stages must have something more to them. Gather 50 rings, hit a goalpost, and jump through the stars to get to the special stage. Right off the bat, this is a welcome change to the crazy dizzy acid trip that was the special stages in the first game. This has a runway, rings, and enemies to dodge. I know that some people complain about how this feels and the stages are too difficult or a memory game, but I could not disagree more. These levels are fantastic in my eyes. Playing this game on original hardware has enough of a delay lag to allow for reaction. You can see obstacles before the event of jumping needs to happen. You can also gauge where the objects are going to be G-force physics. Of course, these stages do not have real G-force physics, but the rings and obstacles are placed in a way that when you are going around corners, they would follow this logic. Turning left results in things being thrown to the right. Using this, you can predict where things are going to be. I did mention before that Tails in these special stages just get in the way. Well, that's partially true. I understand that Tails is the hard difficulty, so it makes sense that the stages are harder. However, when you play the combo pair, Sonic will start in front and Tails behind. Tails is a little bit of a lag, mimicking Sonic's movements a split second slower. Sonic and Tails also share the same ring count, which when you total up so many rings to pass through the next obstacle, this can be tricky. When Tails gets hit, the ring counter goes down, but that only affects the rings that Tails picks up, which, with him being behind you, are only the rings that you miss. However, if Sonic gets hit and Tails not, Sonic will be pushed to the back and Tails will be sent forward. This means that you will undoubtedly lose rings again, as Tails is slower than Sonic and will eventually get hit. And because Tails is now up front, he will be the main collector of rings, meaning at this point you might as well give up the stage and try again later. Yes, it is bothersome, but I do not believe it deserves the amount of hate that people give it. Honestly, Tails is the hard difficulty. A harder difficulty means it's more difficult. Because of this, I personally think that their argument of it being unfair is completely invalid. It's supposed to be difficult. That's the point. What they were trying to achieve, and they achieved it well. No one will disagree that Sonic alone is easier than Sonic with Tails or Tails alone. Sonic 2 fixes the Sonic formula in almost every way. It's kind of like Sonic Team was using Sonic 1 as a demo, seeing what people liked, what they didn't, and they crammed everything people enjoyed into their next release, Sonic 2. Everything in Sonic 1 did right, Sonic 2 did, and did it better. When Sonic 1 did something wrong, Sonic 2 either didn't include it or improved on it. Sonic 2 introduced the spin dash. This is the ability to hold down on the D-pad and press a jump to charge up a dash. When released, Sonic will shoot off at a high speed into a ball and kill almost any enemy. This was present in Sonic 1, but only partly. In Sonic 1, you had to build up speed by running, then turn into a ball to perform the spin dash. This is an example of something that was left in and improved upon. Another example is Super Sonic. When you collect all 7 Chaos Emeralds, Sonic can transform into Super Sonic. This form makes Sonic run faster, jump higher, and has invincibility. The downside is that it requires a minimum of 50 rings to transform, and each second reduces your ring count by 1. When your ring count hits 0, you are left in your default state and vulnerable. Any hit can kill Sonic unless you find a ring very quickly. Sonic Team has improved the Chaos Emeralds, as the first game they did nothing. In Sonic 2, not only could you transform into Super Sonic with all 7 Chaos Emeralds, but you can obtain all 7 Chaos Emeralds in the first world. Within the first 2 stages, Emerald Hill Zone, you can hit a total of 8 goalposts. This means that if you are skilled enough with the game, you can transform into Super Sonic before the first boss fight, and continue playing with this ability unlocked throughout the remainder of your play. A nice juicy reward for veteran players. Every stage in this game keeps the same formula that was set up in the first stage, even if they feel disconnected. The first level sets you up in a colorful green Emerald Hill Zone. The second level throws you into a power plant with liquid ooze that is poisoning the environment. This level is easy enough with a few tricky platforms. When misstepped, will land you in an underwater section with no hope of survival. The third stage, you enter into a ruined ancient city that is half submerged. Aquatic Zone. This zone is pleasant enough, and as far as water levels go, I like how this one is a one-shot deal and it's over with. Sonic games have never done well with water levels, and this game, to my knowledge, is the only one that handles water stages so elegantly. If you are skilled enough, you can avoid ever touching the water, but one misstep and you land right in the watery depths of the sunken ruins. The reason I say this game handles the water levels elegantly is because it doesn't overstay its welcome, and even if you're not skilled enough to avoid them, the section of underwater only lasts a minute or two before you are eventually forced out of the water to continue on dry land. The reason why water levels are hated so much is because Sonic cannot swim at all. He walks at the bottom of the water very sluggishly and runs out of oxygen within seconds. You need to replenish your air supply with bubbles. Casino Night Zone is next, and man, what a stage. This level encourages gambling for children. Jump into a slot machine for a chance at a wide range of rings, or lose 100 rings. Despite what you may read online, there is no lucky slot. All the slots have the same chance and outcome, which is randomly generated when you start the level. You can test this by jumping into one slot machine and then traveling to another. The slot machines will have the same pictures on them, which means they are linked to the same event handler. Essentially, the machines are copy and pasted across the stage. Each one has the same animation that plays the same time. There is one slot that is best, however. It is not best because the chance winning is increased, rather it is best because it is the easiest to get to. On the second stage of the zone, drop down to the path with the sliding blocks near the beginning to be transported to a solitary slot. This slot has coins above and 2 flippers. This slot is best because it's easiest to get back to, and it has spare rings in case you lose all of your rings. Fifth comes Hilltop Zone. This zone is up in the clouds and is a welcome change of environment. I love the music, the atmosphere, and the grand scale. It truly feels like you are in the sky, balancing on ledges ready to fall. Next has the best music in the entire game, which says a lot because this game has amazing soundtracks. It's a cave with bright colors and spike pits, or more accurately, a spike pit. If you're going too fast and not being careful, you can fall directly into the only spike pit in the game, and you cannot escape. I really feel this was meant to be something like in Sonic 2 recreated by Christian Whitehead, making the entrance to the hidden level this spiked pit, but instead it punishes the users for having supersonic. Because Sonic is invincible when he is in the supersonic form, if you fall into this pit when you are supersonic, you have to wait until Sonic's rings deplete before you can try again. It's a drag knowing that your death is going to happen and knowing exactly when. Oil Ocean Zone is next, and well, it's an oil ocean. I believe this was supposed to be played out like Robotnik making the water toxic from machines, but I don't know. The game has seahorses and Octoroks, but that's about it. Aside from that, I try to skip this level as quick as I can. It's not that it's bad, it's just not my taste. Next comes the worst level. The type of level that every Sonic game has to have. The level is unfair, unforgiving, and tests even the veteran players. They all have different names depending on the game. Sonic 1 was Scrap Brain. Sonic 2 is Metropolis. Metropolis is supposed to be inside Eggman's factory. This level is unfair with impossible enemy placements and cheap shot enemies that are programmed to aim for you. The worst are the Staryus and the Praying Mantis. I call them Staryus because they look almost spot on like the Pokemon Staryu. The Staryus will shoot out a star pattern of shots, but only when you approach them. This, in itself, is not bad, but combine this with a solitary platform, yeah, it's unfair. The Praying Mantis have boomerang scythes that they throw and curve back around. They are terrible, and if you go far enough off screen without killing the Mantis, their arms respawn. It is increasingly frustrating when there is one on top of a spring wall and you get smacked into it every time you try to progress, knocking you back and eventually blocking your progress. And if this level couldn't get any worse, it is the only zone in the game that has 3 stages. It is to make up for the next 3 zones only having 1 stage per level. The first being Sky Zone. Basically, it's an auto-scroller with Sonic standing on the tornado, the aircraft flown by Tails. It's simple enough, but go too fast and Sonic can fall off the plane. Winged Fortress comes next, and this zone is the loading dock for Robotnik's spacecraft. You board this wreck shop with some platforms, go up to the sky, and then face off against arguably the most difficult boss in the game. After this, you follow Robotnik to his transport, hitch a ride up to space with him, and land on the Death Star. Death Egg. Yeah. Really, it's called the Death Egg, but it looks like the Death Star. But it's the Death Egg. The Death Egg is the final zone, which drops you with no rings and 2 bosses to fight. The first boss is a Mecha Sonic, not to be confused with Metal Sonic, which came later. Mecha Sonic is a mechanical version of Sonic. I don't know, as a kid I thought this boss was kind of like the beta version of Metal Sonic, but oh well. I guess in the Sonic they're 2 different beings? I don't really know. Mecha Sonic is arguably more difficult than the final boss if you do not know the simple trick. The Mecha Sonic battle can last anywhere from 14 seconds to 5 minutes. And yes, it's that varied. As a child, I thought you could only hit Mecha Sonic when he was standing upright. As he stands up, then he makes a ball, and then he attacks, either spin dashing, jumping, or shooting spikes, or a combination of all of them. And then he stands back up. I thought that you could only get 1 shot per animation, but turns out you can hit him as many times as you want during this animation, and the animation for him chasing you down even. Knowing this makes the boss fight much easier, and if done correctly, can be completed in as little as 14 seconds. After Mecha Sonic comes the Death Egg Robot, piloted by Robotnik himself. The fastest way to beat this boss is to hit him in the pixel-perfect opening on the underside of his belly, but that is always too difficult for me. You could also hit him at the peak of Sonic's jump right above the arm spikes as he is walking, but that is also difficult to do. The easiest way takes about 6 minutes to complete, but happens after Robotnik attacks. He will raise into the air, slam down, and when he does, you can smack him for a point. You can also smack him for a point when he's about ready to take off. Combine these 2 tactics together and you can beat the boss in about 4 minutes. However, the fastest method could result in the stage being completed in less than a minute, but oh well. I've never been able to pull it off, and after almost 30 years, I'm satisfied that my 4-minute time is good enough. And that is it for Sonic 2. After the fight, you are left with a cutscene, and if you earned all the Chaos Emeralds, the birds change to bald eagles, and Sonic is supersonic, flying beside Tails in his plane. The end credits are awesome, playing a compilation of all the zone's music and sections, just like in Sonic 1. Overall, I love this game. If you have never played it, I recommend giving it a try. It is the 90s gaming at its best. I can honestly say that the latest version for the Switch is really nice too, although the save feature and customization of settings makes it a little cheap. It is easy to see why this game did so well, and many spin-offs were made from this sequel. If it was just relying on the success of the first game, I don't know if Sonic would be as popular or as prevalent as it is today. Well, that is it for Sunday Coffee for this week. Thank you all very much for joining me. Next week we will be discussing and looking at something else, probably another video game review, but honestly I don't really know. We'll just have to see what comes up. Thank you all very much. Have a great rest of your day. If you'd like to stay up to date with everything that we post, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. You will help us out a lot. Thank you.